What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 80 of the Game Moose podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Turford, alongside the ghost with the most, Drew McMillan.
Hey, yeah, I can be that again.
You can be that again. We'll get to that in a second. And of course, the Brock star himself, Brock McLaughlin.
Yeah.
And the man who paints bridges for the very first time on the Game Moose podcast, Josh Costin is here.
I like that. I was actually just watching Bob Ross last night, so I will totally take Paints Bridges as a nickname.
That was literally the everyone knows, of course, I always make up nicknames for people like the second before I go to them. So that was the first thing that popped into my head. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you. Long-time listener, first-time caster, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were also on our Injustice Reacts video, which of course y'all can go check out at the Game Moose video page as well. So you can check that out. So Josh, everyone knows everything about us pretty much at this point, but tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm just a contributor over at Brock's site. You all know it, brockstargaming.com. Longtime fan of JRPGs. If it's turn-based, I'm game. So, yeah, that's probably what you'll be hearing a lot about from me on his reviews and stuff.
Sweet, which is sort of a stark contrast from Injustice.
It is, yeah. But hey, it's got a gear system, so, you know, progression right there.
I guess, yeah, that's technically an RPG. So, on today's show, we are going to talk about how Resident Evil, the movie series, may be back. We'll see.
That's some breaking news right there, man.
That's literally breaking as we walked in. Of course, Ubisoft, of course, took the liberty to announce a bajillion things this week, so we're going to talk about that. And, of course, our topic of the week, the big topic this week, of course, Injustice 2. Our review discussion is going to be a little bit later in the show. If you're just here for the Injustice 2 review discussion as well, you can head on over to our YouTube page at Game Moose. Just search for Game Moose on YouTube. We don't have a custom URL yet because we don't have 100 subscribers. Maybe one day.
We're not.
Please subscribe to us.
We're not big boys.
No. But we'll have it clipped out. So if you want to check it out there and don't want to listen to the whole show, no worries. We got you covered. So first topic of the day, Drew. A little thing happened this week.
Yeah, there was a live stream.
Yeah, a Destiny 2 live stream of the gameplay.
It was the gameplay reveal for Destiny 2.
Yeah,
happened on Thursday.
Yeah, it was Thursday.
It was Thursday. It was the 18th.
Right. So we learned a lot of new details about Destiny 2. So first of all, you're the biggest Destiny person I know, biggest Destiny fan I know, even though I know you stopped playing for a little while.
I uninstalled it out of spite.
Yep. Which is why, of course, the nickname for Drew, actually, in case you two don't know, is the Ghost with the Most. It came from Ghost from Destiny.
Yes.
Wait, was he the Peter Dinklage version or Nolan North version?
I'm the Dinklebot, man. I'm 100% original.
You know, somewhere in this room, I think you still have your talking Dinklebot somewhere.
No, I lost my Dinklebot in a move a long time ago. He's long gone.
Oh,
I'm
dang.
sad. I wish I still had it because that's a collector's item,
And
dude.
I really hope we're still talking about a toy right here.
To be fair, you can still buy like the collectors. If you want to buy the Xbox One version of it, there's a million fucking copies of that floating around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So most people didn't buy it on that platform.
Yeah.
So Drew, start us off. What did you think about this reveal?
I liked. Well, okay. When I first watched it, I was disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, because I watched it and went like, oh, okay, so it's more of the same. And the early reports from everybody are, this feels like Destiny. This plays like Destiny. This looks and smells like Destiny. It's just different stuff. And you know, I want more. I want something new and exciting. But then I sort of got the sense that, okay, they're holding back a little bit. They're not showing us everything because it's still kind of early. But then I had that feeling again, that creeping feeling, like last time with Destiny, it was like, oh, well, there's got to be more. This is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Mm-hmm. The same thing like when we all played the beta, we're like, oh, if they're going to expand on this, then like there's the planets, there's going to be tons of them, and there's going to be lots to interact with. This is just the beta. That wasn't the case. So it's sort of like one of those like fool me once, fool me twice kind of situations. I'm very hesitant, but I have been getting more and more excited. The more I sort of like kind of look into the hints that they've dropped over the last little while.
Yeah.
So, but from everything we've heard, the shooting is there. The shooting is good. It sounds good. It feels good. They've changed up how they do weapon slots now. So instead of having a primary, a secondary, and a heavy, you now have a primary kinetic, a primary elemental, and or primary energy is what they called it.
I think it was called energy.
Yeah.
So basically, you can have like before in Destiny, you were sort of limited to like having a heavy weapon, which is like a rocket launcher or machine gun.
Yeah.
You could have a secondary weapon, which was always a shotgun, a sniper rifle, or a fusion rifle. And then your main weapons would be your other standard weapons. But now you can sort of mix and match the standard weapons.
Yeah. So now you can have, and one of the things they added was they added submachine guns. Right. Is a new sort of like weapon subtype.
Isn't swords coming too?
Swords has been in the game since Taken King.
Like,
oh, that's why I don't know.
You also mentioned like elements too. Like, was that in the original one? I didn't play any of the DLC. I uninstalled it after that. Like, were they added later on, or?
So the whole thing was, it was kind of like late game stuff. You started running into guys who had like shields that were vulnerable to like a particular element. It was shock, solar, and void. So then you could get weapons that had that elemental type. And then there's certain enemies that were like weak to that, especially as you get into the high level raids and other content.
Okay, yeah, I probably never touched any of that stuff after the main storyline.
Yeah, no, like this was barely in there. And the biggest pain in the butt was always that like before going into, if you didn't know what you're getting into, you had to like swap out that weapon in your loadout, and that was really annoying. Which you couldn't do mid mission, right?
Yeah.
So you found yourself painted into a corner a lot of times. You're like, oh shit, I really needed my shock scout rifle for this,
better start over.
I need my bad juju or whatever happened to be.
Really stupid game mechanic.
Yes. It was yeah, they had lots of problems.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that World of Warcraft learned a long time ago, is that because in the original World of Warcraft, there were different resistances that bosses would have, whether it be fire resistance or frost resistance. And then after that first expansion, you never saw that again, because it was such a dumb mechanic that if you didn't have specific gear, you couldn't progress.
Yeah. It is something that they kind of doubled down on, later on in the game. But the problem was people are always clamoring, especially for the primaries that did elemental damage, of which there were like a handful of them. It was more so like the heavies and the specials. So like you'd have like a solar sniper rifle, or you'd have like Galahorn was famously, I think it was Galahorn was solar. Or like you want to avoid rocket launcher or whatever, depending on what you're going into. Mm-hmm. But again, if you didn't know what you were getting into, then you're kind of fucked.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
It was tricky, like changing your inventory really. So it sounds like they've tried to smooth that a little bit by having two primaries, and the secondary slot apparently looks like things like sidearms and stuff like that will always go into that second primary slot. And then the last thing is, so apparently sniper rifles, shotguns, and stuff all occupy what was your heavy slot. So you have a rocket launcher, a shotgun, or a sniper rifle, or something else. They all go in that slot. I can't remember what they call it.
I think they just referred to it as the heavy slot.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
In lieu of a better name.
Yeah.
They just kept it the same pretty much.
So those are the really big changes sort of mechanically. Everything else, like I said, the shooting feels the same. Yeah. The abilities all they've expanded on them a little bit. So like there's a new subclass for each type. So there's a void subclass for the Titans, which is you're Captain America. Let's be real. You have a shield that you can throw and it bounces off dudes.
And your other one is you become Thor. So you're basically all the Marvel superheroes as a Titan now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sold now.
Yeah. One of the things is that
first day pre-order.
They did show like the striker class, which had the Fist of Havoc thing where you throw both your fists down and you do like a big area attack, sort of like, but in a line, like lightning bolt attack. But instead of doing just one, which that was how it originally was, like you'd have one attack and it did like crazy amounts of damage. Now basically it's active for a period of time. You can slam multiple times, and you can do like a shoulder charge with it as well. So it's a little bit more like the Blade Singer or something like that, where you have like a super active for a period of time, where every time you attack you do crazy amounts of damage.
Yeah. Which we saw a little bit in the reveal, like the fancy sword attack that was on fire.
Yeah. So that's the new one for the warlocks. It's a solar warlock. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, basically you have a flaming sword and you can jump around, and the flaming sword shoots like a wave of fire.
I saw that in the trailer, and it looked like they were kind of like hovering and doing it.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah, and it looks like the warlocks are big on hovering, I think.
Yeah, between that and the electric one from Taken King.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what they do, aka warlocks being the best class in Destiny. Let's just be real here.
And then the new subclass for the hunters is one that's called the Arc Rider, which I think is the stupidest name of a subclass yet. And you have a lightning staff. And you do like bow staff attacks, and it's electrical, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. So
yeah,
as you two are, for the most part, sort of the furthest from playing Destiny.
Yeah, I'm a very casual Destiny fan. And like last week, I think on the show, I said I was very excited for Destiny 2. But after that gameplay reveal, I was like, that looks kind of like the same Destiny I remember. And not very fun.
Which is good and bad. Again, it has an audience that it appeals to, but obviously it might be tougher for new players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Josh, what do you think?
I'm definitely a casual player, but I mean, I bought it twice the first time. I originally got it on Xbox 360 and played through that on the campaign, but then traded it in, got it on PS4 to play with all my friends. But my copy was really weird. It was like every time I shot somebody, the numbers would come off to like really far out to the left, and I had to completely turn my head to see them, and it was driving me insane. So I traded that in.
That's so weird.
It was a really weird copy. Like I played my buddies, and it wasn't that way at all. But I was like, no, I played through the campaign. I'm not gonna grind up again with this weird ass numbers off to the side. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't like how you had to go to a completely different website for the first one to find anything out about the story.
Yeah.
That's something we've talked about numerous times on the show.
So they haven't said anything about the Grimoire cards. I haven't heard them talk about that.
We also didn't see any pop up either.
Like,
no.
They keep mentioning that it's going to be like really intensive story and stuff, and like I want to believe them, but like you said, fool me once, fool me twice scenario kind of thing.
To be fair, the what they said of the story sounds really interesting. There's already like the first mission sounds really cool and dynamic. From the people who played it, they said, it feels like the Taken King. Like it had a lot of scripted events like throughout it. Lots of stuff was happening. There are you saw lots of characters, like you saw like Ikora Ray and you saw like Cade and all that kind of stuff.
And to be fair, I did hear that they did get a little bit better with the story as the DLC kind of came out. But I mean, I didn't stick around long enough to buy it.
So they've kind of acknowledged that was a shortcoming, and and you can see that it's there. The big setup for this one is the Cabal show up with this huge army and basically invade Earth. They put a big shield around the Traveler and cut off all of the Guardians from the light from their power.
Okay, so that's how they lose their powers. Yeah, I kept reading that, but I wasn't sure how they were going to explain it in the story kind of thing.
What's even stranger to me is that like it's clear that right away you get your powers back. So this is something Ryan and I were talking about. Number one, it seems as though the power of the ghosts aren't tied directly to the Traveler, because the ghosts seem to be still okay. I don't know. They don't really show
any of that stuff works. I don't think they're prepared to talk about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
They just want you to sort of experience it when the game comes out.
Yeah. So your ghost apparently, one of the big parts of the lore is your ghost brings you back from the dead when you die, right? So the whole thing is the ghosts go out and they find dead people who they resurrect to become guardians, and then they can resurrect them whenever they want or whenever they die. And there was a really cool cinematic with the sort of like the annotated version of Zavala coming back, and it looks like he was an astronaut. He was before because he's wearing the same uniform as the astronauts that are in like the original cinematic from the very beginning.
Yeah, like when
Destiny.
they go to the moon the first time.
Not the moon, Mars.
Oh, Mars.
When they find the Traveler, he's wearing like a similar suit, and he has the same sort of gun that they have, which is like this white M16 looking thing. So like there's immediate story ramifications for what that happens. They wanted to write their way into why they setting everything back to zero, right? Like why do you lose all your gear and all your abilities? And the big question is, if the Traveler is if the Traveler is down and out, then where do you get your powers from? So apparently the beginning of the story is you sort of seeking out getting your powers back. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if like for the first like part of the game, can you not die?
Maybe.
I don't know. There's a bunch of like unanswered questions.
They'll probably have like some explanation why you can die and resurrect, but you just won't have your powers. And I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah,
I'm just making shit up at this point. That was the best I could come up with.
Yeah, like I have no idea either. Personally, I think the reason why I started getting excited again was I went, wait a minute, what else other than the Traveler can give powers like the powers that we have? And I was like, oh shit, is it the darkness? Because there are all these rumors swirling around that there are going to be darkness themed subclasses for everybody. And I was like, I wonder if this ties into that like basically you go to the darkness to get your powers back, which would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I wonder how that will even work with the lore or just how the gameplay works. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, here's the reality. They didn't once use the word the darkness in any of the gameplay. There was never any mention. There didn't appear to be any darkness zones like in the last game. So mechanically, that seems to be a little bit different. So the whole thing was if you died in a darkness zone without someone to resurrect you, you immediately had to redo that area again, right?
And maybe they're just doing away with them just to bring in new players.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the idea that they're going for with that.
Or, but if you look at the strikes, the gameplay of the strike appeared to have that mechanic just on the whole time.
Oh.
Right? So...
Yeah, maybe it'll just be a strike-specific thing and not like a mission, like a solo mission thing.
I don't know. Like, there are a bunch of question marks here.
Yep.
Which makes me nervous because there were a bunch of question marks going into the last Destiny, and I was disappointed.
Yeah, because they didn't really want to tell you until 2 weeks before the game came out.
Because they didn't want everyone to find out that, wait a minute, the loop is very, very, very short. And it's very repetitive.
And it was pretty much what we played in the beta.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how that's going to work. So let's talk about the information that they did share with us and sort of what our reaction to that. So first of all, the mission they showed was called Homecoming, which we talked about. There are 4 new zones that they announced. They did also hint at you'd be returning to previous areas in the original Destiny, so places like the Moon, Venus, or Mars, or Russia.
They didn't. Now they hinted. They didn't overtly say that.
Nope. So I mean, it could be you never go back to them. Who knows?
Or there's just a cinematic there, or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the new planets are Titan, Nessus, Io, and the European Dead Zone. The European Dead Zone was from PvP.
Yep.
So when you played in PvP, you went to a lot of areas in the European Dead Zone.
Yeah, and the European Dead Zone was apparently the first area that originally developed for the original Destiny, and they scrapped it because they didn't like it. They recognized that it needed a lot of retooling,
and that's why we're going back.
Yeah, so it's been brought over to it's been brought over to Destiny 2.
They also mentioned that as well. You don't have to go back to orbit anytime you want to do anything because that used to be a big annoyance in the original Destiny. Yeah. Anytime you finish a mission, you go back to orbit. You fly somewhere else. You fly back to the tower. You go back to orbit. You then go. Yeah, it was.
So you can do it straight from like the planet kind of thing now.
Yeah. It now has fast travel across all the planets and points of interest.
Yeah,
because there's actually a map this time.
That works.
God, that works with points of interest on the map, so towers and other things to take over.
The director is back.
As long as it's something like a little different. I just remember flying on the Sparrow from one place to another and it was just kill all the enemies here, kill all the enemies here.
Yeah.
It was like just some variety kind of thing, something else.
So one of the things they talked about was they said that especially specifically in the European Dead Zone, there are like mini dungeons. They're like little like the caves and things everywhere, and you go and there's like little challenges and like high level monsters down there and stuff like that. So that sounds cool.
And there's supposed to be solo challenges too, so you can go do them by yourself.
Yeah.
You
don't need a group.
Nice.
Yeah. Speaking of groups, though, they did announce as well that official clan support is coming to the game, as well as a feature called Guided Games. So how that apparently works is that there will be clans that might need to fill 1 or 2 spots for their raid, so they'll advertise to people to like solo people to go join them. So it's a way so that they don't have to put matchmaking in the game for raids because they didn't want to do matchmaking. They wanted you to pair with people who are already in a group. So this is sort of their answer to that. So I'm curious to see how this is going to work and how many of those groups are going to be troll groups where you join them and they just like take all your gear or just be trolly.
That's going to be me.
Yeah. That's going to be Brock.
Yeah.
It's all based around the new like guild system or is it guild? What was the word?
Clans.
Clans. The clan system, and that clans will like sponsor people and like so you can do the Guided Games experience with them. Apparently, it's a way to give you if you're a solo player and you don't have someone else to do raids with and stuff like that. It's principally a way to do that. So you can build up rep with them, and and they can build up. They didn't say directly that there is a reputation system, though. I think there should be.
They hinted at it.
Yeah. So that you can look at a clan and kind of see like, oh yeah, these guys do well. They help people and they take care of people as opposed to people are just kind of dicks.
Yeah.
So
and it was also really hard to get 6 people together in like basically friends over Xbox Live or PSN to do raids because that's what you had to do. There was no matchmaking or anything. So.
And then you kind of felt locked in, right? Like the raids took way too long, in my opinion. Though you could save progress, but like you were like, well, I have 6 people here now. Like, when are we going to get these 6 people together again? You know, like, oh, my buddy's got to go take care of his baby, you know, because his wife's out of town next week and all that kind of. So like, you're like, well, you know, and so and so works shift work, so they're not going to be around. So then, like, when you finally get to sit down and do a raid, you're like, well, we got to do this. I'm locked in. I'm stuck doing this for the next 6 hours, especially if you're doing like fucking hard mode on something.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's just, again, they're just like MMO raids because MMO raids take the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And you can't really leave.
Yeah.
It saves your progress.
Yeah.
It's literally the same.
That's one of the things that like kind of drove me crazy about the last game is, I'm a human being and I have a life. I'm 36 years old. That, you know, like I can't just say like, oh, I'm going to set aside, you know, like the entirety of my Sunday to do this or whatever, you know. Yeah. So,
and that's if you don't like wipe all the time, like
that's the perfect run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So other things they talked a little bit about the PC version of the game. It will be available physically, but it'll also only be available digitally through the Battle.net store, which is Blizzard's store, along with Overwatch and other things like that. But it comes with some benefits because you'll be able to use Battle.net friends lists. There's also cross-game chat, so if like I'm playing Overwatch and Josh is playing Destiny and he wants me to come play Destiny, you can just whisper me through in-game chat and I can just pop over there. So I think it's actually it's great.
Oh man, that's a little
I'm scared now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's actually pretty cool how that works. They also mentioned that Destiny will run at 30 FPS across all consoles, including PS4 Pro. Uncapped frame rate will be on PC, but the default on PC will be 60 FPS.
Yep.
Which is a big difference because Destiny 1 has always been 30 FPS.
So where's the part where they pull the rug out from underneath you, Ryan?
Well, they did mention that they don't really know how Scorpio is going to work.
Yes, and the other part of it is they don't have a launch date for the PC.
There's also that too. I was getting to that. So the PC version, they mentioned they're targeting the same date for the PC version of September 8th.
Yeah.
But we don't know if it's going to come on September 8th. Neither does Bungie. So who knows when the PC version's coming.
So yeah, good news for PC gaming enthusiasts. You're going to get a copy of Destiny 2.
Not only will they get a copy of Destiny 2, but it'll run at 4K at 60 FPS or
which
higher.
Is awesome. When? Who the fuck knows?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that really just, it sucks for PC players. I feel really bad for them because,
I
mean, they're getting the better version of the game, but it's weird that it's not coming out the same day. Like, it seems bizarre to me.
Yeah.
That's the case.
This is really weird.
Maybe unless it just seems like they're almost like they're rushing this game.
No.
You don't say.
No, but even more than maybe we would have sort of anticipated.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that it was definitely being rushed.
Yeah.
Like, they're really rushing this out.
Well,
how long have they been really working on this? Taken King didn't come out that long ago, did it?
3 years.
Okay.
Is what they're saying, which is not that long for a title this big.
No.
Especially that we know that like a bunch of it, allegedly, a portion of the environments are repurposed from Destiny 1, the ones that got dropped from Destiny 1.
Yeah.
Like, this is an ambitious game.
Yep.
And they really need to get it right this time around.
Yeah. So there was concept art for Titan and Io, I think.
Yep. Like a long time ago.
Long time ago. So like there was ideas they were going to do a bunch of these planets before. Nessus is the only one we've never heard about before.
Yeah. I don't even think they really mentioned in the lore in the first game.
Yeah.
Except like maybe once or twice.
The weird thing about Nessus is it's not a planet in our solar system.
No.
This is the first time. So we don't know, is this a rogue planet that like somehow shows up in our solar system, or are we leaving our solar system for the first time in this game?
Or maybe that goes back, because that might go back to your theory about the darkness. Like maybe we have to go to a planet outside our solar system to go commune with the darkness.
Yeah,
it sounds so even.
There was
sounds like Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
or the darkness.
I've been thinking the darkness the whole time.
There's a large, evil, undulating black orb in the trailer, and I was like,
Are you darkness?
Yeah, but like we didn't in any of the gameplay stuff. We didn't see like weird windows, like the weird the darkness portals where like dudes were pouring through like in the old game.
Right.
And again, we didn't see the weird darkness icon. Didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And there was no overt references to the Red Legion, who are the sect of Cabal who you're fighting in this game as being somehow connected with the darkness. So that all kind of leads me to believe that I think that they're shaking things up and they're going for something different. And I really believe this.
Yeah.
Now, if that's the case, then I think that's really cool because we've always kind of been like, well, what is the nature of the relationship between the Traveler and the Darkness and what's going on there? And
why do they got to hate each other?
yeah, well, they got to hate.
So before we move on to the next topic, I want to get just a quick yay or nay as to whether you're excited. Starting with Drew. Excited? Not excited?
Hesitant, yes.
Brock?
Meh.
Josh?
Not really, not right now.
I almost pre-ordered the collector.
That's what you talked about. And Drew, quick question. How much does the collector's edition cost?
$329 Canadian dollars.
Does it come with the game though?
Yes.
Okay, that's all that
It's
matters.
at least got that going for it. It's not Marvel vs. Capcom.
It comes with the game, and it comes with the first 2 expansions. Expansion 1 and Expansion 2.
Yep. They could be anything.
Yeah, who knows? They have
Those are the official names.
Expansion 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all you get?
It also comes with a sweet messenger bag.
Oh.
That's it?
And a bunch of other and an art
Oh,
book.
a bunch of other
Stickers.
stuff.
Art book, steel case.
Because that seems really, really
Not
expensive.
like any toys or anything?
I'm not gonna lie though, the messenger bag was really cool looking.
Yeah, but the Persona 5 one is really cool too. And I only paid $100 for that.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say,
as well as a
that's-
bunch of other stuff, an art book and all that other stuff too.
You should look it up. It's obviously they put a lot of money into the messenger bag thing because
Yeah.
it's got a bunch of funky
Yeah,
stuff going
it's
on.
probably like $100 bag.
Yeah, it's got
in
like
there.
bits of leather and stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd be pretty shitty to be carrying around if the game sucks.
that's a really exceptional point.
That just makes me really sad, bro.
Yeah,
Also, I wanted to point out that I'm actually pretty excited about this game more than I thought I would be. But I'm still, just like you guys, I want to see what the full thing is before I say yay or nay. I'm excited for the beta because the beta is coming this summer.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see sort of how that works.
yeah. Hopefully the beta rolls out like they did last time, just after E3 for
Yeah.
PS4
was-
players.
Is the beta going to be both PlayStation and Xbox?
Yeah, but the PlayStation version will be first. Because they'll probably do it. I'm pretty sure they're going to do what they did last time for the original Destiny beta, where it'll be day and date with the PlayStation press conference.
Of course.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
All right. Topic 2 is not Destiny related. We're going to talk about Ubisoft because they had their big financial results this week.
Yeah.
But since they knew that in their financials to investors, since they are sort of under threat of being bought out by Vivendi, they wanted to basically forecast what's coming out for the next year. So rather than sort of waiting till E3, they kind of just wanted to get it out of the way so their investors knew, of course, that there is stuff from Ubisoft on the way. So
they blew their load.
yeah, so we
to
got
speak.
a bunch of announcements, including, and first of all the games I'm going to mention now are going to be out before March 2018. So basically next fiscal year. So Far Cry 5 was announced. The Crew 2, because everyone likes fast cars. Brock's saying no.
What? Why? Who wants the Crew 2?
I do. That game's cool, man. Not as cool as Forza Horizon.
No.
But cool. And of course, a new Assassin's Creed title, which we already knew was coming. And it seems like it's actually going to be the Egypt thing.
I'm really hoping it's good.
Me too.
That's
hope
Origins, right?
That's the hinted name is
Right.
Assassin's Creed Origins something.
I'm just still very confused on what you're gonna really climb on in that game.
Yeah,
Egypt's
there's no
not a
tall buildings.
Place.
That's
Like,
something you and I talked about when they announced it.
You
It's
can't
weird.
climb a pyramid. Like I don't really get it. Like it's gonna be like a Prince of Persia game. It
Or
seems
maybe
like.
you can climb a pyramid, but then what the hell else do you?
Why?
How would you jump off of it?
Yeah,
Right.
What kind
Why?
of pyramid? A step pyramid? A smooth pyramid?
I don't like the fact that you know so much about pyramids, Trevor.
A 3-sided pyramid? A 4-sided pyramid?
And you know, if it's in Egypt, there's going to be some reason how he breaks the Sphinx's nose too. Like they're going to probably tie that in.
And there will be
somehow.
some dumb shit involving like the piece of Eden and a bunch of other crap.
Oh right,
They've really backed off on that stuff over the last few games.
Yeah,
they haven't
but
really
last
not
one
talked
didn't
about
have
that.
But if it's an Origins game, they gotta tell the origins of the pieces of Eden and how they're buried in pyramids and shit.
Sure they do. How they're buried in pyramids and shit.
Yeah, because I mean that's something we talked about. That was the problem with Assassin's Creed 3, with there weren't any tall buildings in that game either, and
Yeah.
it's just like, well, the moving from place to place wasn't as fun.
No.
Like
3 was the like American Revolution one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that one.
no one liked
Which
that.
is too bad because it had potential for being really cool.
Yeah, it
Like,
seemed like
could
a
have
cool
been really
idea.
interesting. Yeah, Yeah, like they bigged up the idea of instead of buildings that you were jumping from like tall trees in the forest.
Yeah.
You know,
The forest stuff was cool. I'll give them that. I like that, like going through and hunting. But when you were in the cities, like Boston was too small.
Well, that's why I'm sort of wondering how this Egyptian one is going to work, if that is actually the setting. Like, because again, you're going to have small cities in that because it's fucking Egypt.
It's pretty much 99% confirmed it's Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen
Sorry, Drew,
screenshots.
We see, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, Drew, of course, made a prediction famously at the beginning of the year that it'd be a Spanish Inquisition game.
Which I think
and
would
not
be
Egypt.
far more interesting.
Really cool.
Yeah. Though I don't like, I think maybe the whole like Spanish Inquisition basically hunting down Jewish people.
Yeah.
I think that would be
steer clear of that.
You know why,
I think
though?
that's a little too sensitive a topic.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition, Drew.
To be fair, there are tons of World War II games out there. Just saying. You know?
Too far, man.
No, like
Jesus fucking Christ. This is a family show, Drew. That's why
It's not a fucking family show.
no, it's not a family show at all. As a matter of fact, I've been considering a disclaimer at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. Getting back on topic.
Like, I mean, that's always been sort of the neutered aspect of World War II games, right? Like they always like dance around it, like they, you know, and I get why, because it's an incredibly sensitive thing, and it's really hard to talk about this stuff tastefully in video games. It's hard to talk about that stuff tastefully in movies, right? It's been a real challenge for people to talk about the Holocaust and the real like crazy effects of it. Yeah. It's interesting that like Assassin's Creed and other games like it, they have these big historical settings that are really interesting, but then they have to be very careful about what they talk about. You know, like we've had games that have used the Crusades as a setting and not really dealt with the fact that, hey, this was basically like a pretty shitty thing that the Europeans were doing, you know, that they were sweeping and going like, we're just going to kill all the Muslims, you know, but instead they glorify it like, well, no, it's, you know, we're Crusaders and we're taking back the Holy Land, which is the same justification that they, you know, the Crusaders used, you know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that these historical games, and who knows, maybe we'll get to a point where they do push the envelope. And there's some games out there that do. Was it This War of Mine was a game that was a lot about the Balkan War and like the effects of that.
Right, that was just on PS Plus free kind of thing, like a couple months back, I think, right?
Yeah. So, and then what is the Valiant Hearts, which is one that really very interestingly dealt with like the horrors of World War I, which is oftentimes sort of considered to be the one of the most sort of horrific wars, because it was the one that basically everyone like technological innovation hit a certain point where everyone kind of went, hey, this war, the Industrial Revolution stuff, we need rules, man, because we can't just keep fucking gassing people. Yeah. That's awful.
And that's something that, again, Battlefield 1, I think, did a really good job of touching on, too. Like,
yeah.
They definitely highlighted the horrors of that war just in general.
And everybody was concerned about that, right? We were all talking about what was going to happen. We had a conversation about that. It was like, what are they going to do in Battlefield 1? Is this going to be is this going to be kind of gross? Are they just going to glorify this whole thing? But by all accounts, they dealt with it quite deftly.
Yeah.
So
there's some other stuff we learned as well. So first of all, backing up to Far Cry, they didn't actually mention a setting or anything like that. They did, however, talk about they did unveil a new logo. The logo is very clearly colored with the colors red, white, and blue. It sounds like that game's going to take place in America. I kind of wonder how that's going to work. But again, we really don't know too much about it. We do know it's going to be at E3.
Are you talking about Far Cry?
Far Cry, yeah.
I want to be a cop. I was getting those kind of vibes.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
I was getting cop vibes from that little photo.
Yeah. I don't know how a cop Far Cry would work, though, because,
they keep changing that shit up. The Primal was so far, it's so different.
I know, it was great. It had dinosaurs in it.
So who knows? Maybe you get to be a cop.
I'm just going to throw this out there, though, just a heads up.
Okay, fine.
Red, white, and blue are the colors of the Colombian flag, too.
That's also true.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I mean, and we know how they like their drug wars over at Ubisoft.
Well, clearly not. Have you played Ghost Recon?
Yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately.
So we got some positive news out of this as well.
Yeah.
We got a release date for South Park.
Yes.
Which is finally confirmed for this year.
Yes.
So October 17th is the release date. Fantastic. I think it's going to be a good time for this, provided that like Red Dead doesn't come out that month or whatever. So honestly, I can't wait to play that game.
I'm
it looks
very
awesome.
excited for a new South
Yeah,
Park.
we don't have a date for Red Dead yet, do we? And they've
No,
been
they
quite,
just said fall.
November.
yeah, it's been pretty quiet so far.
But they said November.
Well, at the initial reveal, they said fall. I haven't read anything that says November since then.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I could be wrong. I just haven't seen anything new since the original
Oh.
reveal, which was fall.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it said November.
That's all good. And speaking of things that aren't coming out this year, we did get one other announcement from this financial report as well. It was later revealed after these big announcements of new games that the Avatar game that was announced a few months ago will not launch until 2020 at the earliest,
that's
in order to
unfortunate.
be closer to the launch of Avatar 2. Which begs the question, why the hell did they announce this game now? Like, couldn't they just wait 2 more years even? Like, even till 2019, like, to even talk about
There's
this game?
like probably one person out there who's sad about that news being delayed too.
IGN's Max Scoville is very depressed because
Really?
he actually really likes Avatar.
I like the
Why?
first Avatar movie, but all the license stuff that they did for all the, like the license game and
Yeah.
the other stuff around it was shit.
Because Ubi did do a licensed Avatar game when
Yeah.
the first movie came out, and it
Yeah.
was real bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
that game's been like deleted from history.
Yeah,
It does
everyone
not
forgets it
exist
exists.
everywhere.
Just like Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game in the movie.
Oh,
everyone
man.
forgets that movie game
I
existed
think that
too.
was one of the first games I got for my 360 too.
Same, because it was the easiest 1,000 achievement points.
Yeah, it was awful.
I think I only ever played that one on an Xbox.
Original Xbox.
Yeah, no, the demo disc kind
It
of
was,
thing. Like, I
it
didn't
was
even
one of the
buy
first.
it
It was
or
one of
rent
the
it.
first demos for Xbox
Yeah, I
360.
remember getting that.
Yeah,
It was a bad game.
it actually wasn't that bad.
It was pretty
it was not
bad.
good.
There were worse games at that time.
That's fair.
Yeah. Also, it was revealed. I didn't write this down, but it was recently revealed with MPD this month that the number one Ubisoft also owns the number 3 and number 1 best-selling games this year.
No.
Number 3, For Honor. Josh
Hey.
actually likes For Honor.
I
So
like. Well, I mean, I don't get disconnected, so I mean,
there's true. That's true.
That's the thing, yeah.
plays a big part in it if you get to actually play a couple games.
Yeah, for sure. And number 1 spot, Schwarm's Brock's Heart, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Best-selling game this year.
Really?
Could even be better selling than Red Dead by the time the year's over.
I'm shocked.
It-
Still,
it's-
Wow.
Who are these people that are playing this game?
I don't know how that's happened.
It's so bad.
I don't know either. But I mean, the top-selling game of last year was The Division, so it's not super surprising because people like those games. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Number 2, of course, is Zelda. Zelda's the second best-selling game this year. Although,
I'm surprised that's not number 1 though. To be completely honest,
well, I mean, there just aren't enough Switches out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they didn't make enough to make it to number 1.
Yeah, because I mean, the attach rate for Zelda pretty much is 1-to-1 for Switches right now.
Yeah.
Mario Kart's incredibly becoming that at rate too because it sold 500,000 copies in 2 days.
No, Ryan. The attach rate for Zelda is more than 1-to-1.
more.
They sold more Zelda copies than they sold Switches.
No, I mean, with the recently released NDP, it's
Okay.
now gone a little bit down from there. Now. More people have Switches now that
They're-
want 1-2 Switch instead.
yeah, there are a
Or
bunch-
just for Mario Kart.
There are a bunch of people who had
I felt-
aspirational copies of fucking Zelda. It's crazy.
I'm gonna own a Switch one day.
Yeah.
This is my goal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 'Cause-
If you can't tell, that's me taking a dig at Nintendo's fucking consumer distribution system because it clearly sucks dick.
Yeah.
Which I imagine some of these numbers will reveal more.
Well, there's also there was one other funny number too because the Switch was the best-selling console last month. Second best-selling console last month, the NES Classic.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry.
Holy
I'm sorry.
shit.
People really wanted it, but they're like, you know what? We don't need to keep selling this.
No,
it's
fair
fine.
Fuck
It's
'em.
fine. It's money, but we don't need people to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got a bunch of news stories real quick to sort of wrap up before we get into our Injustice discussion. So first news story, of course, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 was announced this week. It's coming to PS4, PC, and Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on November 17th. We're getting a full gameplay revealed this week at some point. I think it's on the 26th, but don't quote me on it. I'll probably even put a little graphic on this
Of like
video.
the 22 Lego games, I think Marvel Heroes is my favorite one. So
Yeah.
I am extremely excited for this.
Yeah, you and I are both huge Lego fans, Brock, and yeah, I can't wait for this game.
Yeah, they're always really fun. I've played a couple of them, but not my hugest thing. But
Yeah,
Co-op. They're so good for co-op.
I haven't done co-op
Couch
yet.
co-op.
Also,
That'd be a good one.
also, fun fact, Brock, you were very distressed before because you didn't think Wolverine's going to be in it. They did confirm
They did?
that he's in it.
Oh, I didn't see that. So there's going to be other X-Men?
We don't know. We just know Wolverine's in it.
Wolverine is in Marvel vs. Capcom.
No, Lego Marvel
Lego.
Superheroes too.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, because I don't know how they made it work, but maybe that means more X-Men, which I would be excited about.
Well, they're kind of bringing them back into the comics now.
Yeah,
They're getting along.
I think that relationship's getting better than it used to be.
It seems to be.
Yeah, maybe especially after Logan was such a success and
And Apocalypse was such a failure.
Oh, there's that too.
So bad.
Yep. Next up, there was an ARMS Direct this week.
There
We're not
was.
doing a topic about it or talking too much about it because we learned some more stuff about it, but for the most part, it was just stuff we already kind of knew.
More of the same.
It was just, they unveiled a couple new characters, but if you want to check that out, of course, just check out the ARMS Direct over on Nintendo's YouTube page.
Did you know that this is a game where you punch people when you have really long arms and motion controls?
You can also punch people with really long hair, too. Not only just arms.
Yes, well, or robots.
They also confirmed, though, at during the Direct that you can use the Pro Controller to play this, as well as the Joy-Con grip, so you don't have to use motion controls if you don't want to. But it's there. It's there if you want to punch the air, basically. They also had a cool trailer for Splatoon 2's single-player mode that sort of goes over some cool stuff. So check out that trailer as well if you haven't seen it already. Next up, the final episode of The Walking Dead Season 3 will launch on May 30th and will be called From the Gallows. Brock, I'm giving you the floor for a second.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't even
Talk
see the
about
trailer.
your experience.
So I'm on season 3 now,
Yeah.
chapter 3, playing on Xbox, and it is like unplayable. It is just terrible. What's his name?
Javier.
Jove.
I can't remember. Anyways, anytime he comes into the screen, the pixels like he blows it up, so
Yep.
you can't see anything. So like they're trying to ask you dialogue questions, and he's like, his big ass body is covering like the responses and stuff. It's just been a disaster.
Yeah,
so
like,
I can't
totally
get through
glitched
it.
out,
I
yeah.
like threw my controller against the wall, and like that was it. I was like, I'm not playing this game.
Yeah.
I was
So
gonna say,
hopefully
it's
they
like-
patch it, but it's Telltale, so they probably never will.
Yeah, because you threw up pictures, videos of that on Twitter.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I
posted
saw that
videos. I gotta upload the actual videos for the console because some of them are ridiculous. I started looking for like on forums, and like a lot of people have had that same problem for Steam, but not on Xbox.
Yeah.
So I'm a little confused.
Or even on PS4, like, I haven't had that issue at all. Like, we talked about before, like, I've been enjoying my time with it because I haven't run into any issues at all. So
I'm not
that's
also
really
enjoying
surprising.
this season that much.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
I just miss Clem. I like using.
That's true.
It's
I
really
do miss
shitty
having
not to
her
have
like
Clem.
yeah. And she's like interspersed in the story again. This story is very much Javier's story,
Yeah.
not Clementine's story. She's just along for the ride this time.
It's just it's weird.
Yeah.
Javier's not as like an engaging character as what's his name was in the first one. Too.
Lee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee was really great.
Lee was awesome.
Yeah. I do like sort of Javier's sort of mini family. Like I like what's her face?
Obviously not enough
I
to
don't
remember her name.
It was a very memorable
No,
character.
no, it's been a few weeks since I played it,
I
and I
love
totally
what's her
forgot.
face.
No, like the girl he's traveling with, like she's
Okay.
pretty cool, and I like the kid, his like brother's kid.
At the
So,
start. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's sweet.
I just want everyone to die in season 3.
That's also
Like
true.
I'm just rooting
It's
for them
Walking
all
Dead.
to get killed.
It's Walking Dead. You want everyone to die. That's how it works.
Yeah.
There's not enough options for them to die.
Yeah, that's also true.
There was like one where you could shoot the guy in the head. I was like, yep, boom, boom,
Yeah.
pop, I'll kill
Unlike,
you all.
unlike season 2, because you just played season 2 recently,
Yeah.
and like there's
I-
some grueling options in that.
Oh,
game.
hell yeah. And it was like, oh, I love you guys. Kenny, my man.
Yeah,
But
Good boy.
yeah, season 3, die.
Yeah. All right. Next up, some news that actually got me super excited because I'm such a big fan. Don't Nod has announced that a new Life is Strange game is in development. They did not specify that it would be season 2 at all, or if it was going to be something different. However, they did confirm we would not hear about it at E3 sometime after. They do have a game coming out this year called Vampire, which also looks pretty cool. But
Very cool.
We would hear about it before the end of the year. They also mentioned in this post that Life is Strange has sold 3 million copies, which makes me really fucking happy because that game is awesome.
I'm really surprised we're getting a sequel for that game. I don't
It
know
sold
if-
well.
Yeah, I don't really know if we totally need one, though.
Well, no, they didn't say if it's a sequel though, or it might be like a side story, or not about Max at all. Like it might be about different characters.
It could be just like in the same universe.
I'll take I'll take the same universe, new characters.
Yeah, because that's sort of what I'm hoping for. They just all they said was a new Life is Strange game.
Oh, okay.
So it might not even be the same even style of game. Even it might be something completely different.
Cool.
But either way, I'm excited for that because Life is Strange. We talked about it before on back in 2015 when that game came out. That was my game of the year that year. Was Life is Strange. I loved it.
Some very big Twin Peaks vibes.
Yeah.
Which also premieres tonight.
Oh Jesus!
Oh shit! Yeah.
Brock found his TV segment.
All right.
It's almost like you knew our next story, Brock.
Oh, really?
You know what our next story is?
No, because I don't read the homework.
A Netflix live-action TV show based on The Witcher is on the way.
God.
There's no release window or date confirmed for this, but we do know that it's based off the original Witcher novels and not the video game. So CD Projekt Red is not involved in any way, shape, or form with this.
Hopefully the writer's going to get some royalty checks for this one.
For once, yeah. Well, that's what it sounds like. It's finally his chance to make some money off his own franchise.
I just hope it's better than the original movie that came out when they did it the first time, called The Hexer. That thing is terrible.
Yeah.
Is that like a Polish?
Yeah, it's the Polish kind of one, and it's so bad.
And this one's being done by another Polish company. So I mean, I'm just curious.
I have hope that because it's Netflix original, but that first movie wasn't good.
It also didn't work out for Iron Fist that way either. So there's that.
Fair.
So the hot rumor is that they've cast Julian Assange as Geralt.
I hate you so much right now.
There's this hilarious meme being passed around with a picture of Julian Assange, and he basically right now has Geralt's haircut from The Witcher.
He looks just
he
like
just
him.
needs the scar and he's there.
Yeah.
I'm really stoked on this show. I'm really pumped.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what it is. I'm just only worried that that CD Projekt is not involved at all because what could that possibly mean for the look or the style of the because I don't think this will be based on with the characters we know from the game.
It'll be very much its own thing.
Yeah.
But wasn't the game very heavily based on the books?
I think like plot point wise, but like stuff like
I know they changed a lot of the characters around.
Yeah.
Like they're very different.
Especially when you got to The Witcher 3, apparently things are a lot different from the character dynamics.
If there's not fucking on a horse, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah.
That's the scene I want to see.
I agree.
That's all I want from the show.
Yeah, horse fucking.
10 out of 10 horses.
Is this part of your petition for hot nudes just to be sent to the
just want to see some horse fucking.
Good God. All right, and last news story, Housemarque has announced their next game, Nex Machina, will be arriving on PS4 and PC on June 20th. They also announced a new co-op mode for that game. Nex Machina, of course, first of all, Housemarque is the studio that makes Resogun and Alien Nation, Dead Nation, all those games. They're very much twin-stick shooter games, and this one's no different. It very much looks like co-op Resogun, which is exciting for me. I love Resogun.
Resogun was cool.
Yeah. But that's still one of PS4's best games.
I will disagree with you.
Never heard it.
You've never heard of Resogun?
No.
Resogun was a big launch game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also the very first PS Plus game on PS4.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome. If you like twin stick shooters like Defender or Geometry Wars or something like that, it's great.
Okay.
And if you don't like those games, you probably won't. All right. So, topic 4, of course, I'm here with Drew McMillan, Brock McLaughlin, and Josh Costin. We are talking about Injustice 2.
Yes.
Our review discussion is finally here.
It's the big one.
Of course, we had our reacts from the event, but now the game is in our hands. We've all played it. So, first of all, Josh, you're actually reviewing the game for Rockstar Games.
Yep.
So, what are you scoring? No, I'm just joking. Tell us sort of what you think about Injustice 2.
Well, I've been loving it so far. I mean, I've played all the Mortal Kombat games since the arcades growing up as a kid, but this has been kind of like my go-to every weekend since the original Injustice and since they kind of reworked Mortal Kombat with my friends every weekend, and it feels the exact same. I mean, if you've played the other ones, the combat system is identical. It's it's Mortal Kombat with DC characters. So you know,
Nice.
if you're into it, it's gonna be a great game. You're gonna have fun.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong with that formula.
No.
In particular, like, and again, this one feels more Marvel versus Capcom-y, if that makes any sense, than the last one. I think. I don't know. It has more of that feel to it to me.
I don't know. To me, Marvel vs. Capcom, it always feels a little quicker. It feels a little more really arcadey style.
Yeah.
I don't know how to differentiate Mortal Kombat kind of thing.
I'm just sort of drawing from my experience of last time even playing Mortal Kombat X. It felt like a slower game than this does.
Yeah. I mean, but this brings back all the classic things. It's got sweeps, it's got uppercuts, you know, it's got combos and the same that have similar kind of feels.
Juggling, I still can't figure out. I don't think I've ever landed a juggle.
Oh my god!
Actually,
fucking super cancels. I can't do.
Josh,
for me.
Are you the other person at this table who has finished the tutorial, or did you never finish the tutorial?
I did the tutorial because I was
high five.
I couldn't even beat the tutorial. It was too fucking hard.
I had to do the tutorial because I was waiting for it to download, and I still had like 8 hours until I could do the campaign or online. So I'm like, all right, I've only got the tutorial loaded. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
So
Brock and Drew once they got to the juggling sessions and move cancels.
It was just move cancels for whatever reason. For me specifically, move cancels I had a really hard time with. Everything else I was fine with. Obviously, some things are harder to pull off than others.
Did you go into the customs? There is a thing in the options where it's like release check for the special moves. Like it will not register until you take your finger off of the button, kind of thing. If you turn it off, it's like as soon as you do down forward circle, it will register the move. The other one, it won't do it until you release circle. It's really weird.
Okay, I'll have to look into that. The other thing too that Ryan suggested is the control input thing where it turns everything to like quarter circles and half circles and stuff like that, as opposed to like instead of back forward, it's quarter circles.
Yeah, there's two things I flipped off in the options menu, and it was like the release check and whatever that one was.
Yeah, for sure. Like I know that really helped me out was the quarter circle moves, for example, because I'm such a Guilty Gear player and Marvel's Capcom player that it is tougher to go back to this type of style. Like with the double forwards or the double backs or whatever, or back forwards.
Oh, I can't do command grabs like the down, forward, back triangles like that. That's not.
Forget about it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So, first of all, let's start off with the story mode and sort of go around the room here. Brock, start us off. What did you think about the story mode? Or did you get a chance to play?
Yeah, I played it. I think it's really good. Like right off the bat, I mean, the story it's convoluted, but it's not as convoluted as it was in like the original. That's where it was bananas and so bizarre. But this one was pretty damn good, and I really like their version of Harley Quinn. I think she's awesome, and the fact that she works with Batman is super cool.
Yep.
I thought that was awesome. And pretty much everything about the story is really good and enjoyable and short.
Yeah.
I haven't gone back and played because
there are two paths. We won't spoil how that works, but there are two paths.
Yeah, that's the one thing I have yet to do is go back and play from the other perspective from that choice moment.
So I'm gonna do that still, which is cool. Yeah, but I've really enjoyed the game, and I don't really like fighter games at all. Mortal Kombat 10 was fine. Like it was cool to play with some friends, but this one I'm finding myself really playing by myself and really enjoying it. As well as the best thing I really like is. It's like Mortal Kombat had those towers.
The multiverse.
Yep.
The multiverse.
I'm loving the multiverse missions.
They did that really well in this one, I think. I think the way they changed it up is great for even like casual players. If you're not like a huge fighter fan, like you even said, like you find yourself doing this.
Yeah.
It's hats off to them for that one.
Yeah.
There's just so many features. I'm like really overwhelmed with what's going on. Like the menus aren't very easy to follow.
But once you get to know them, they're pretty intuitive, at least. What I found.
There's a lot. Like mixing up your combat or your items and your armor, and like there's just so much shit going on.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
Yeah, there's a ton of content in this game.
Yeah,
for sure.
a lot of content.
Drew, you pointed something out as soon as you started playing the story mode. What about them facial features?
Holy shit!
Those facial animations.
This game, I mean, it's like watching a fucking movie.
Yeah.
It is like when we talked to Ed was like, this movie, rather the story is like very cinematic. It's like a movie, and I was like, oh, yeah, everybody fucking says that. This is like a fucking movie. Like it plays out like that. I'm sure they're constantly doing convoluted stuff where they're getting characters together so that they have to fight.
Of course, it is a fighting game.
It is a fighting game, but it's really good. I feel like it combines some of the best qualities, and sure there are a few of them of the DC cinematic universe so far, as well with the best qualities of what are quite excellent and well regarded as the DC animated movies. It feels like it has a mind from both of those things. They looked at those things and said, like, what's the best stuff that we can borrow from these things?
Yeah.
So their interpretations of the characters are really cool. They put fun spins on things. Like their Supergirl is really cool.
I
like
love
that she's
the Supergirl.
the whole like thing that she's like been sort of like growing up in sort of like isolation, and like Black Adam is an interesting character in this one. Wonder Woman is
The way they talk about her, she seems to be like more like the bigger villain, just like the way she said like they kind of manipulated Superman and stuff. And I never thought about that in
she's
the
like
first one.
really cold hearted. The reality is, like, I mean, when you look at like Wonder Woman's backstory, she can go one of two ways, right? Like she can either look at humanity and go like, oh, this is a problem I need to solve, or these are people I need to help, right? And it seems like that's the way that she went. And so all the characters are really interesting. But it was beautiful. Like it was stunning.
It's a goddamn gorgeous game.
And it's all in engine, right? Like you're watching these cutscenes, they go smoothly and without any kind of like loading or jarring. You're just going from one thing to the next. The only time this game loads is when you die.
Yep.
Right.
And it does transition from like the actual cinematics directly into the battle scenes, like very nicely.
Yeah.
Almost like perfectly. And of course the facial features and like the animations and stuff are like identical when you are playing the game to the cinematics too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel jarring or anything like that at all.
It's so lifelike. It reminded me a lot of, it looked like someone took what they did for L.A. Noire and just like cranked it to 11. L.A. Noire was all about like, my understanding was it was all about like texture mapping and stuff like that. So this one you could tell they seem to be combining like the best of that with like their meshes and stuff like that, and just having what I'm guessing is really good facial mocap and stuff like that, because it looks so fucking good. It makes you care about these characters a lot more when they feel that much more real, and they go through really cool and interesting stuff. Yeah, so.
For me, I think it's one of the strongest fighting game campaigns I've ever played. I mean, the only one that I think that rivals it is Guilty Gear Exert Sign is a really good one because it is a visual novel, but it's also a really good visual novel, so I think that it stands up. Like that's the closest comparison I can find, whereas most other fighting game campaigns, let's face it, are mostly throwaway. Like you don't really care about them. This makes you really care about them.
Yeah, don't forget about Street Fighter's story mode. That was a good one.
The one that
didn't exist until after the game came out.
It didn't launch with the game.
DLC.
Yeah, it was DLC.
A lot of times the story mode is a really huge afterthought, and you can tell that they really put a lot of effort into it. And it does the right thing. It pulls you in, right? It gets you to experience all of the characters. It gets you to play as a bunch of different characters. But at the same time, if you start feeling comfortable with a character, it lets you lean on that character a little bit more for certain parts of the game.
Yeah,
I did like that because they didn't have that option in the past one or like the Mortal Kombat series, because that's kind of how they started off with when they rebooted it with the story into playing all the characters throughout.
Oftentimes you'll be in situations where you've got heroes in pairs, and for each... And you'll be in sort of like a locale for a period of time, and for each of those locales, you'll get a chance to choose between those two heroes. So if you decide you like one, I always tried to play as either or, and then decided which one between the two of them. So by the time I went to the third or the fourth fight, I really knew which one I liked the most.
Yeah.
So
and the cool thing about that too, I've actually lost a fight when I had picked one character. If you pick the other one, like it actually transitions to the fight completely differently, and there's different dialogue and stuff like that, which I thought was a really nice touch.
Yeah, and there's like trophies and stuff tied with if you go back and play with all of the characters that you didn't play with, you make different choices.
Well, that's actually how you unlock the alternate ending, is that you have to actually go back and actually play as all the other characters you didn't play as before you can actually go down the second path.
Right. Which is really cool.
Yeah, the fact that they even thought of doing that is just incredible. And
they did a really great job of making Brainiac a really cool villain in this. He's scary as hell. He's really tough. He's really hard. He does like cold, heartless, just brutal shit.
Yep.
It was really great. I really enjoyed that story. It was really phenomenal.
Yeah. The only character or villain I should say that it was kind of disappointing was the Joker. I didn't really like their interpretation of Joker in this, even though he's dead. So I mean, in theory, he really doesn't exist in the story anyways. But like, I don't really like their interpretation of Joker. Their interpretation of him is basically just scary dude with a knife.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the whole thing? Wasn't it just a scary guy with a knife?
I know, but the Joker? I mean, even when he talks, he's not really like He's not entertaining at all. He's not Mark Hamill, for example.
Right.
Is it Hamill voicing him? It sounds like Hamill a little bit.
It's a Hamill sound alike.
It's someone doing Hamill.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the Joker in this story is, and Kotaku wrote a really, really interesting article about it, is basically they gave Harley the moment she should have had in Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. Like, the Harley in this game is the Harley that should exist in Suicide Squad, but instead they like
the one who's like stood up to Joker and like got past his like abusive.
Yeah, the notion of like she sees his pattern of like narcissistic abuse and like and as a character grows past it and doesn't become attached to him anymore. But yeah, they did that. That's something. It was really great how they did that. They had that moment. I kind of felt like they watched Suicide Squad and went, you know what they should have done? Let's put that in our video.
They didn't have enough time to fix everything with the movie, but they did the one part.
Yeah.
But no, I like how they introduced them, kind of thing. Like the way they went about setting up that moment was also like really cleverly done, kind of thing too.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. I also felt how it just felt like playing a DC movie, like an animated movie, because I mean,
animated movie.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
the good
ones. The live action.
No, the good ones. I mean, even playing like I don't know, like any of those Justice League movies. That's sort of what this felt like, and it was cool that they had most of the voice actors from the DC animated movies to reprise the roles in this. Like, I thought it really led sort of to the authenticity, kind of like Injustice 1 did the same thing as well. But it definitely helped with the story mode. So let's quickly talk about online multiplayer or just multiplayer in general. I know you've been playing online, so why don't you start us off, Josh?
I've played a few matches online. I haven't done too much, but I'm actually really impressed with the loading times too. When you're like when you're connecting to like another player, not just doing the multiverse stuff. It's like I want to say under a minute sometimes. Like it's really quickly.
Sometimes it finds an opponent in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and then when you're actually doing the connecting after you've picked your characters and loading into the match, it's like snap, you're ready.
It's a lot longer for me on Xbox.
I'm so sorry, Brock.
I'm speaking from the PS4 point of view. So yeah, it's very quick on the PS4, and I was actually really surprised with how fast it was going.
Yeah, and not only that, like no connection issues. At least I didn't run into any either.
No,
which was nice.
I usually did like a best 2 out of 3 with whoever I was playing with, kind of thing, and I didn't notice any like lag in between moves or anything like that. And like even when I was losing, I wasn't blaming lag. So
and that's what
that's a good sign.
That's what a lot of online fighters really struggle with. Like they either you have the disconnect problem or there's just lag inputting your on inputting.
Yeah, like
it just becomes a big problem.
Yeah, and I know that NetherRealm has sort of had problems with that in the past, and so in so much that it is a thing that they've taken on. You know, the fighting game community. It's a huge issue for them, right? It always has been. Like, how do you deal with multiplayer lag to the point where like there's very specific interpretations of like frame stuff, and you know, like, it's a really tricky thing to do. So to hear that it's really smooth and a really fun experience is awesome.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it online.
Yeah.
Same, especially even day one, because that's when you would expect like the servers crack.
Got it,
yeah. Like there were a ton of people on and no issues, no lag, no disconnects, which is just perfect. That's exactly how you want an online fighter to be.
Yeah,
so
definitely thumbs up online launch day for a fighter.
Yeah,
very rare that happens.
For sure. So again, let's talk about the multiverse mode, because we talked about it a little bit before. The multiverse mode, of course, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you don't know how that works, essentially you're because the DC universe obviously works in multiple universes, you will go into the multiverse mode and you'll have 5 or 6 different realities to work with, and they all have different missions associated with them, and they basically work like the tower mode from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there are modifiers applied to each of the quote unquote towers.
Yeah,
and to each of the challenges. So like some of the ones I've seen so far are this one's called like slow start, where like at the beginning when your health is high, you move slower. Which is interesting because if you're both, if at the very, very start of the fight, you know, if it's one-sided, it's sort of like, you know, that person starts moving faster, your opponent starts moving faster, and it makes it a really interesting challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas other ones, you'll get to call in support characters. Like you'll have like a character like Cheetah, for example, who if you press a button input, they'll come in and do a move to sort of distract your opponent or whatever like that.
They do also have some where it's like assist characters where they're not actually in the game. Like I've had Constantine as an assist.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, Constantine, El Diablo, I've had Raven.
Jesus.
But they don't come in like when you have like Swamp Thing or something, but they just do a special move and blast it across the screen.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It's
That's
pretty
cool.
cool. So I'm like hoping, Well, that's kind of interesting.
Fuck, I love Constantine in this game.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's one of those shadows for the silhouettes
Yeah.
in the DLC, but
Same with Raven. I really hope that that's a character that comes back as well.
I liked her in Injustice, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a few characters I've never seen before in this game.
Oh, that's right.
They did some deep pulls
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, I was impressed with the roster for this.
Yeah, we got a Red Lantern. We got the leader of the Red Lanterns, Atrocitus, throwing up his blood all over everybody.
Yeah.
With his little buddy Dexter, who is also
Rage Kitty.
Yeah. I did a little bit of reading about Dexter. So Dexter was a kitten named Dexter who was like abused.
Yeah.
And you know, so he's the Red Lantern for Earth.
He's
And
got like all this rage in this little kitty body.
yeah, he's hilarious. But like, Brock, you were asking me about Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
come
That was
on.
Blue Beetle.
Okay, so Blue Beetle is an interesting character, and I told you because you're watching Young Justice right now, right?
That's a good way to kind of get introduced to
Yeah,
Young
if you watch
Justice.
the second season of Young Justice, you'll get a lot of Blue Beetle. He's a cool character. My biggest problem is that his power set is almost identical to their interpretation of Cyborg. Because you can have Cyborg in Cyborg has different origin stories. The current one they're going off of is the one that's kind of like the DC extended universe, and that is that he got his powers from a mother box, which is like an alien supercomputer.
Dark side tech kind of thing. Apocalypse tech.
Apocalypse tech. Yeah. So the mother box like has like fused with him, and mother boxes can like they can take different shapes and different forms and stuff like that. So like his arm can turn into a gun or whatever he happens to need. He's like a Swiss Army knife, right? Blue Beetle is the whole thing is it's an alien piece of technology that gives him power armor that shapeshifts into whatever he needs. So they end up having two very similar sets of powers. They're both shape-shifting power armor dudes. And so, like, you know, you've got guys, you know, you got Blue Beetle and he puts his two arms together and it forms into a big gun and he shoots it. And then you've got Cyborg doing the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Because now that I think about it, they are kind of like identical. The only thing really differentiating Blue Beetle is the fact that the Beetle's sentient kind of thing, right?
yes.
That's
The
one thing,
Beetle wants him to do things and stuff like that. Versus, well, the mother box has its own sort of intelligence too. Yeah. Because the mother boxes are AIs, right? So, yeah, it's kind of weird. You know, basically, one is like a young, naive kid, and the other is Cyborg is supposed to be sort of like very. He's supposed to be older, and he's supposed to be a little bit more world weary and like, you know, skeptical and stuff like that. So,
Now, those two characters that are locked, do either of you have them?
I know one's Dark Side.
One's Dark Side.
One's Dark Side.
One was a pre-order bonus.
Oh.
And the other, well, the only other
was
one,
Brainiac,
yeah, the other one is
Oh,
Brainiac, and you have to beat the story.
Story. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can get Dark Side though. Still, like
Yeah,
You can
get him individually.
You can pay
It's something,
$8.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can pay money. Can you use in-game currency too?
No, I don't
No.
think so.
No.
But you can use them in one of the multiverse things right now. Actually,
Yeah,
Okay.
And
they're doing the
he's
Mortal
fucking-
Kombat thing,
and he's
which is nice.
OP.
Yeah.
He's so OP.
Yeah, I've heard he's pretty. He's got the power of the Omega beams.
I've played a few people online with who played as Darkseid, and
Yeah.
I just got totally wrecked.
I have no idea where to guard where those things are coming from. It's ridiculous.
Especially because he just teleports everywhere too, which doesn't help.
Yeah, he can teleport, and he's got like eye lasers that take up the whole fucking screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not fun to play against.
Yeah. So the last sort of thing I wanted to touch on before we sort of move to what we think about the game as a final wrap up is the gear system. They made a big deal about sort of the gear system, how it would impact things, and sort of the character leveling thing. I am finding a bit of a difference, but it's not as big of a difference as we were sort of told on the outset. But what do you guys think of how the gear system works in this game?
Well, it kind of depends on if I'm playing with like my level 1 Robin and then the person picks like their level 20 Cheetah. I do notice a significant difference in like the amount of damage that they're putting out and my lower health kind of thing. But if you're facing somebody who's level 20 and you're level 20, it's more or less doesn't feel like it's one-sided or anything. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you've both got higher health, you've both got higher strength, so you're kind of evens out.
That's true, and that's the thing. When you play ranked matches on multiplayer, we should point out that gear doesn't affect it at all.
It's off anyway. So
Yeah, it's only when you play player matches or when you do multiverse stuff. But even when you play multiverse stuff, and maybe that's where my sort of complaint comes in, is that when you do multiverse stuff, a lot of times you get paired up with people at the same level, and then what gear you use doesn't really. I don't find it makes a big difference. which is sort of my sort of overall complaint. And maybe it's not until you start fighting level 20 characters, and that's where sort of the big difference between gear levels sort of comes in. But for right now, like, I'm not really finding a big difference with that. So
no, I'm too casual to even notice a difference. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So let's sort of wrap up our discussion of Injustice 2. It's been a long day.
Injustice 2.
So we're gonna go around the room. We're gonna start with you, Drew, and then Brock, and then Josh, and then myself. Just your overall thoughts, and if you have a score to assign to this. Drew, we'll start with you.
I think it's a great game. It's probably one of the better fighting game experiences I've had in a really long time. It's also one of the better sort of DC games that have come out, like, ever. It does so many things well. It has problems. It's a really fucking hard game. This is not an easy game to master, and
really hard.
And you get thrown in there with the mix of when you're playing people who have been playing DC fighting games for a really long time,
or just Mortal Kombat,
so like either you've got people who stuck with Injustice, or people who've been playing Mortal Kombat for years and sort of followed along with how they've made changes and stuff like that. That makes that player base, it makes it hard to come in. Mm-hmm. I really like the gear, if not just for like cosmetic stuff. Like, it's really cool because you can make your characters look really different, and then also like the as well as the shaders that are in them as well. So you can, if you really want to try to like kit out your Yellow Lantern so he looks as Yellow Lantern-y as you imagine he would, you can do that, right? If you want to try to make your Hal Jordan look like a badass Blue Lantern, you can do that.
Yep.
If you can't tell, I really like the emotional spectrum.
Yeah.
There is actually a Blue Lantern chest and like Pink Lantern chest that you can get with the core symbols on them. I've seen them.
Which is really, I think is really, really cool. Yeah. So you get like, Star Sapphires and like Indigo Tribe and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. Like my Batman right now, I went out and I used the in-game currency to buy the Batman Beyond color scheme for him.
What was that awful Batman outfit that he's wearing at the beginning of the story? It's so brutal.
Like when they do the like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
thing?
when he's coming in the plane with Robin and Robin
Right
like it's so ugly.
I'm gonna have to play the starting one.
It's the tutorial one. It's brutal.
I don't remember it all.
Yeah.
It looked too tight on his head.
It's the prefix of the gear system, too tight cowl.
And what goes along with that too, though, is Brock, you're sort of hinting at it here, but what goes along with that, it's really easy to make guys kind of look goofy if you if you make certain decisions. So I don't love that it's primarily loot box based. I mean, that's going to happen, but what can you do?
Yeah, it's very much the Overwatch model where you basically earn loot boxes and they reward you with gear.
But at least they're really generous with them. Like you unlock them
if
easily.
You do the story, you get a ton of them.
Yeah. And to be completely honest, like the bronze boxes are 1,000 credits, and I'm getting legendaries out of those way more often than I am at spending 25,000 credits for one gold box, and you get like 6 blues.
Because it seems to me that those, other than the two you can't buy, the diamond and the platinum, only really affect the amount of items.
Yeah, it's literally just random.
Not the chance.
Like I'm getting a lot of epics from bronze boxes. So
I'm getting a lot of epics from Multiverse.
Yeah, just dropping and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you earn them in battle and other.
The multiverse mode is really exceptional. I really enjoyed it. If I were to give it a score out of, let's say,
100,
at this point, I would probably give it a 90. I feel like it's a solid 90 at this point.
Sweet. Brock?
I'm loving it. I compared to like Forza, because I don't like racing games and I don't like fighting games very much, and but it just blows me away. It's like a really casual game, but it is extremely hard. Like I'm playing on easy and still losing. All the time. Yeah, but thankfully it gives you experience and stuff when you lose. So that helps.
Not only that, but the more you lose battles, the AI actually tones itself down.
Yeah.
So if, for example, you are really struggling, you can sort of even die on purpose. And then
every time I get faced with a Superman, I lose like 4 times. And usually by the 5th time, I'm like, okay, I kind of got this.
Yeah.
No, there's so much to do. There's so much variety. Really, really digging it. I like all the new costumes and stuff, like Reverse Flash and Captain Cold.
We didn't talk about that, because there are premium costumes, and the premium costumes not only change your look, They also change your nameplate. They change the character completely to a different character. They even have different voices, which is amazing.
Have you found any others? I know we found Captain
There's
Cold.
Power Girl.
I have Vixen as well.
Yep, Vixen is for Cheetah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Mr.
there's
Freeze.
the other Green Lantern. I don't remember his name.
John
Stewart.
John Stewart.
John Stewart.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then Reverse Flash is one of them.
Yeah.
Jay Garrick is also up now on the store, as well as Mr. Freeze for Captain Cold.
Right.
Yeah, Jay Garrick is the Golden Age Flash, the one with like the World War I style military helmet with the wings on it.
Yeah, and if you have the Ultimate Edition, you get some of those already unlocked, but otherwise you can just buy them all within currency.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. There's even, I think the Green Lantern one, all you have to do is link the mobile version of Injustice to the game. And it just unlocks.
Cyborg Grid.
It's Cyborg.
Oh,
you get
Cyborg.
Grid.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm still trying to find a hood for Arrow because I can't stand what he looks like.
You and everybody on
He's
Reddit.
so really. He's so ugly. He looks so stupid.
He's very Ollie from the comic books.
Yeah.
Though. Like with Ollie always had like the very his blonde hair is like the blonde mustache with the soul
shape
badge.
Yeah.
So he kind of looks like he was patterned after like Robin Hood back in the old days, right?
Right.
He kind of had that kind of vibe to him. I think they went for that a little bit in this one as well.
He's super cheesy looking. I really want to find a hood, but I haven't found anything for him yet.
I got to tell you that Dr. Fate, when he takes his helmet off, that guy's ugly as sin.
Dr. Fate is awesome.
He's a fucking
my
great
go-to
character. He's one of my favorite characters in the
And
DC universe.
He's so
I was
cool.
disappointed with how he was used in the story, actually.
Yeah.
Him and Swamp Thing, I think, were very underused, and that's a big complaint of mine in the main story with that.
Yeah.
You also never got to play as them either.
No.
No.
Dr. Fate is normally such a badass, but in the story...
He's all evil and he
on.
talks like this.
Yeah, I really hope they do like a story DLC for this. That would be really cool if they did
that'd be cool.
if they did like a Justice League Dark kind of thing. Which is Justice League Dark is like all like the supernatural. There we go. There's a copy of the DVD right there.
Yep.
Is all the supernatural characters. So like if they did like a pack where like you got like like Constantine is a playable character, maybe like Deadman, and then add that and like Zatara or something.
And
And
they
then
already have her moveset kind of thing in the character model from the last one.
Just like MKX did that with a few characters as well, like Baraka and some other ones.
yeah,
And some of them got added later and some of them didn't.
yeah.
So, Josh, final thoughts?
Obviously love the game. I mean, I'm not going to give it a score, but if I had to give
You're
it
also
something...
still writing your review too. So.
Yeah. But I'll give you a little sneak peek. If I had to give it something out of 10, I'd give it a go buy it. If you like,
Cool.
go buy it.
That's fine.
Go buy it out of 10.
We'll pull the Metacritic thing and just assume that's a 9.
Yeah. But yeah, like you were saying, it is a little difficult if you're not necessarily a big fighter person. It does have a pretty steep learning curve.
It eases you in, though.
I think it also has a pretty solid tutorial system.
Yeah.
Like, it does give you everything kind of like right up there on screen. It does give you the ability to like tag combos too. So even when you're not in practice, you can still see them, which I think helps.
They also do something neat too that we didn't touch on when talking about the tutorial. Is there's one for every character.
Yes.
And it sort of teaches you sort of each character's ins and outs, what situations they're best in and what they're worst in.
Yeah, and actually another thing that they added that I liked is that you can kind of make an AI loadout for your characters, and I actually did that with my Scarecrow. That's how we got from 19 to 20 before I came here.
Yeah.
As I was putting on my pants, I set him through the ladder just on AI, and it's actually really cool to see what moves can kind of connect with it too. Like that's a really good way I think to learn a character as well. Like you see,
or even to test
So
gear.
when you do the AI mode, is that when you send off like 3 different characters?
No, like you can go into the multiverse and you can pick anything, but when you push a square over your character, you can pick like which loadout you want. There's 2 that you can set for AI, and it'll just go through and the computer will play your character kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a really cool way to kind of like learn to see what the character can actually do.
But the AI Battle Simulator works the same way too, where you can use it to attack other players' teams of 3 and then basically have them set up that way too, where the computer battles it out. So again, it's a good way of being able to watch sort of how the computer approaches that, and then sort of you taking those lessons and then applying them to you playing as those characters. Very similar to Disney Afternoon Collection about watching people's speed runs and then sort of taking the lessons you learn from that and then bringing them into your own game and approaching those games better. So I think that
Oh,
actually
I
works
didn't
out
know
really well.
that. I'm gonna try that when I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's also it also levels your characters while you're not at home because
Yeah.
basically people will attack your characters essentially.
But that's for like the mobile thing though. I think though, right? Like I
Nope.
mean,
No, it works in
console
both.
too.
Yeah, you can do both.
Yeah, because that's how I've leveled some characters. Because I put in the characters that I put are on my bubble that I'm not really playing as, but I think it would be nice for me to level. So I put them through the AI simulator, and then people will just attack them while I'm not at home, and then
but
they'll level.
You have to push X in between the battles.
That's only if you're attacking.
I'm really confused at what mode you're
because
playing
you can
right now.
in AI battle simulator
Yeah,
you can set your
the tower where you get the arcade story endings kind of thing.
no it's
There's
a different mode.
Endless
It's in multiplayer. Yeah, in multiplayer you can set
Yeah.
your team of 3.
See what I mean? There's
That-
a lot of menus.
Yeah,
It's very
there's a lot of
confusing.
shit in this
There's
game.
a lot of stuff.
I didn't think that there'd be like
Yeah.
an AI loadout
So-
thing for multiplayer.
Because
That sounds
it's for
weird.
local multiplayer, but this mode in
Oh.
particular works for online as well. Where if you can assign your team of 3 defenders that anyone can sort of attack while you are away from your console, and those 3 characters will level every time they get battled by another person.
So would you you be holding the controller? Be battling like my AI people, or
No,
would it be your AI?
my
versus
AI versus your AI.
Okay, that seems more fair now.
Yeah, no,
I was gonna say because the AI is painfully good.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's fair for the AI.
Yeah,
in the sense
yeah,
that
okay.
the AI does that. But yeah, that's also another reason why the AI loadouts exist because they exist for that mode too. But my characters are leveling now, even though I'm not at home.
I had no
So,
idea that
that's
mode
pretty cool.
existed.
All right. So, sort of concluding thoughts for me as well. Again, just to touch on a lot of the stuff you guys said. I mean, it's one of the most fully featured fighting games I've played in a long time. I guess usually I'm the fighting game person of the group, and even then, I mostly play anime fighters. Anyways, that's sort of my jam. But playing this, I mean, I loved it. I'm not even a huge DC fan. Again, I've always been more the Marvel person. I don't know a lot of the DC characters the way you guys do, but at the same time, I really got pulled into the story. I was telling Drew the day after we started playing it, I started playing the story and then 5 hours just flew by because the game there's no breaks unless you pause it.
I was going to say I did the story in one fell swoop kind of thing.
I almost did the whole thing. I got to chapter 12 or whatever, 14, and then stopped. But yeah, overall, I've loved my experience with Injustice 2. It's a game I can see myself going back and continuing to play because even just grinding the multiverse mode and then playing your characters that way and then taking your gear upgrades, going on to online and playing people, it's a ton of fun. So honestly, I mean, I'm actually the same rating as you, Drew. I still give it a 9. I think all across the board we're extremely positive on this.
Nice, for sure.
That's the big That's sort of the big takeaway from this.
I mean, if anything, this just gets me excited for what the next Mortal Kombat game is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
This will be my fighting game until another Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I think it's a great game for people who are fighting games fans, but even just people who are fans of DC, I think will get some enjoyment out of this.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're even if you don't feel like going online and playing that way, I think there's a ton of stuff just to play by yourself. If that's sort of your jam, if you don't want to interact with other players, there's still a lot to do for those people as well. Which is why I think it gives it over the edge of something like Street Fighter V, for example, which doesn't have a ton to do unless you're battling other players online.
It had nothing to do.
Well, I mean, post launch.
Right.
Yeah, Street Fighter V now, I don't think is as solid of a product as this, and that says a lot because Street Fighter V is still revered as a quality product. So, viewers or listeners at home, let us know what you think about Injustice 2. Again, if you have any questions for us about Injustice 2, just hit us up. We've all been playing it, and playing a lot of it by the sounds of it. So hit us up at gamemoosecast@gmail.com. That's gamemoosecast@gmail.com. You also find us on Twitter at game_moose_cast, on Facebook at facebook.com/gamemoosepodcast, and as well just Instagram. Just search for Game Moose. Just comes up right away.
Yep.
So before we go, we're going to sort of talk about the new releases and then what we've been playing. So new releases this week. We've got Disgaea 5 Complete is coming to Nintendo Switch this week. A game that I'm really excited about. It's a strategy role-playing game. Looks pretty sweet. There's a demo for it right now as well if you want to try it. Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator 2, speaking of fighting games, out this week. It's sort of like the Ultra Street Fighter 4 version of Guilty Gear, which is pretty sweet. Next up, Friday the 13th, The Game is finally out this week. It comes out on Friday.
I am so stoked.
Me too. I cannot wait for this game.
I can't wait to kill some campers.
Yeah, it's gonna be so awesome. Of course, everyone is gonna pull the Evolve and gonna fight over who gets to play Jason.
I've been waiting for this game since like 2015. Like before it was called Friday the 13th. It was just like a camp horror slash thing that looked cool.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this looks great.
And the fact that Jason like totally acts like sort of Jason from the movies.
Yeah.
You can slay again. Drew's famous example. He wants to be able to slam a camper in a sleeping bag up against a tree, which you can do in this game.
But you can, and it looks graphic.
Yeah.
It looks really bloody.
Yeah. So it's going to be a good multiplayer game again until the single player comes later, which is they're pulling a Street Fighter V with this one. The single player is going to be out later. Next up, Rhyme is out this week. Rhyme, of course, is that game from Tequila Works. It looks a lot like Eco or Ocarina.
Looks really nice.
Wind Waker. It looks cool. I don't know how much trust I have in that game after Sony dropped it. Sort of like Remember Me. But we'll see.
They dropped it.
Well, because it was originally supposed to be a PS4 exclusive, published by Sony, but then they dropped it and they ended up getting their own funding somewhere else, and now they're releasing it on all consoles. But the same exact thing happened to Remember Me, which we saw how that turned out. So, again, I'm hoping for the best. It looks cool, and I want it to be a good game. But
they didn't even drop the dumpster fire that was No Man's Sky.
Well, they could have done that. They could have done that. Next up, Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers. Brock, tell us why people should buy that game.
Why they should buy it?
No, why they shouldn't.
Oh, because it's so bloody expensive.
Yeah, it looks like a really awesome game, but it's hella expensive. It's $50 here for Street Fighter 2.
That you could download on a Raspberry Pi.
Or you can pay legally on your Xbox 360 or PS3, because it's basically a lot of it is borrowed from that Ultra Street Fighter 2 edition that's on those consoles. Phantom Dust came out this week.
For free.
That's all we're going to say about that. There's microtransactions, so I don't want to talk too much about it because they'll all get angry. Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment is now on Xbox One as a free update. If you own Shovel Knight now on any platform, you have no excuse. Go play Spectre of Torment. It's fucking amazing. And last but not least, Thumper is on Nintendo Switch this week. It was a really good PSVR game.
Mm-hmm.
Thumper is rad.
Yeah, Thumper is a really cool rhythm game where you play as a metallic beetle, and it's really awesome. You should go play it.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we take off, Drew, what have you been playing this week besides Injustice?
Injustice.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of Injustice. Maybe a little bit of Battlefront.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I kind of dusted.
This has been a weird week for both of us.
Yeah.
I can get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Brock?
Oh, man. Injustice. I've been playing The Surge, which is cool.
Oh, one of us here is playing The Surge. How is it?
It's good. I like it. It's a little bland. I'm only like 2 hours in, and it's really hard. So it'll take me like 7 years to beat.
Yeah. Well,
like really hard.
It's just like Neo. We're never finishing that game, are we?
Yeah, never finishing that game. But I like it. And then I've been playing, because of the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility sale, which is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the best
you wrote
sales
an
I've
article
ever.
about that.
Yeah,
People should go check that out.
I bought like 30 games. Like the fact you can get like Half-Life 2 for like $5, sweet. Fable 2.
It's not even just Half-Life 2. It's the orange box.
Orange box. And you get Portal 2. And then I found a real gem called Toy Story 3. Holy shit, this game is good. I am loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
It looks really sharp still. And it's just really fun.
I love how they just open the door for you playing Toy Story 3 again.
Okay, this is like a platformer like Rayman style, but with Toy Story. It's fun as hell. And it's perfect for me because it guides you through everything. Like if you're stuck, it shows you like a hologram of what to do.
It tricks you like a child.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm going to go home and finish that tonight.
Oh, good God.
Platinum trophy.
I'm going to platinum Toy Story 3, man.
All right, Josh, what have you been playing?
Aside from Injustice, I did pick up Nier finally during the PS4 Golden Sale that they just had. Really been enjoying that. I mean, Nier is probably one of my favorite games for like the last generation. I think it's a hidden gem if anybody can find it for like $3 probably.
Yeah,
like that's
it's
what
tough
I
to
bought.
find.
It's on
But it's always
eBay
cheap.
for like $50-$60.
But now it is like I bought it at like Electronics Boutique for like $3 used, and blown away at how good it was, and like so good. That's why I got this one.
Nice.
Then I picked up XCOM 2 recently on the PSN flash sale that just happened.
Oh, so you're playing it on console as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it. Played Enemy Within on console. Played the original one on my cousin's computer back in the day. So
yeah, I know Drew really liked the PC version of XCOM 2.
Yeah.
I started playing the PS4 version, but I got distracted by other things. It's one of those games I really want to get back to.
Yeah, oh, I love it. I mean, if you like that hardcore kind of thing where once your person dies, like they're gone and you're going to restart.
It's really hard, that game.
Yeah, I don't think I've got past like the first month and a half yet, and I'm playing on regular without the Iron Man mode. I'm terrible at balancing money and saving the country.
That's it. Those are essential skills.
Hey. So is Donald Trump.
I am doing better.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're an hour and a half into the show, and Drew finally brings up Donald Trump.
Yeah, there you go. That was a singer, man. Fuck.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I have been playing a little game called Destiny, Drew. I don't know if you've heard of it.
That's right. You sent me that screenshot.
What the hell is wrong with me?
What is wrong with you?
I don't know, because I was like, you know what? I'm writing this piece about MMOs, but I kind of wanted to go back into Destiny for a second and check out something. I had it installed on my console for a year and a half, but hadn't played it in a year and a half, since Taken King came out. And then 2 hours flew by, and I'm like, why am I still playing this game? I got hooked again. It's real bad. And I don't know if I'm going to keep playing it, because honestly, there's no real reason sort of to grind out Destiny 1 anymore with Destiny 2 coming and you're losing everything. But I mean, it just reminded me how much I liked the combat from that game, which is something we always talked about with Destiny's sort of its saving grace being its combat, very much so. Other than that, for the most part, again, I've been playing a lot of retro games this week, which I won't bore you with because I've been just pulling out my NES and playing a lot of old carts and stuff like that. That's sort of been my whole week. So before we go, I want to remind everyone next week, of course, is our E3 predictions show. So if you have any E3 predictions, you can send us those at gamemovescast@gmail.com. If we receive some, we will read them on the air. And then if they're really bad, we'll make fun of them.
PlayStation buys Microsoft.
The Rock appears on stage at Xbox.
The Rock gives Phil Spencer the rock bottom.
Oh, gosh. All right. Also, before we go, Drew, something cool might be happening this week.
Yes.
Do we want to talk about that real quick?
I think we do.
All right. So we did mention last week the website's coming.
Yes.
Game-moose.com. Sounds like we may have a time or may have a date in mind.
We're launching this Friday.
It's happening this Friday, provided our server does not crash.
We are launching this Friday because I have 4 days off after that. So if something goes sideways, then we have lots of time to try to fix it. But the full site launch is going to be on Friday. We'll have our full written review for Injustice 2. Ryan's got some cool feature articles. He's got a recommendation article that he's working on and a few other things. We got some videos. Ryan and I played Magic the Gathering and made a video about it, which you can find on our YouTube channel now, or you'll see it on the site when it goes up. And we'll have more stuff.
We have a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I have 4 articles already this week.
I'm going to get new lube just for the occasion.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Water-based lube?
Yeah, probably.
Warming sensation?
Yeah. Tingling. Some tingling.
I mean, never mind. I just can't even say this.
I just want to point out that I said nothing about penises or pornography.
What about just now?
Oh, fuck. I blew my record.
All right.
So the website, it's we're gonna.
It's happening.
It's happening. We're gonna
Friday.
have articles, reviews, video reviews, video features, written features.
I'm gonna tell y'all all about anime and Magic the Gathering and a bunch of weird shit.
Tech reviews, movie reviews. Ryan and I are gonna go see Alien Covenant in like a couple hours, and we're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna do a written review of that. We'll do a quick video about that.
The video will be up tonight or tomorrow probably.
What's your expectations for this movie?
I cautiously optimistic.
See, for everything I hear, either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
And it depends on how much you like Prometheus.
That's what I was just going to say.
And I didn't mind Prometheus.
Neither did I.
So I'm assuming that if I thought Prometheus was okay, I will think this movie's okay.
It did terribly financially.
It's strangely enough, like the theater we're going to is like one of the biggest theaters in Toronto. It's only playing on one screen there.
Well, because it's not in 3D.
Yeah, and it's
So I think that really hurt it.
It opened less than Prometheus did.
And it's a hard R movie.
Well, Prometheus was a full 3D movie, so it was on way more screens.
Right. Yeah. And Guardians of the Galaxy is taking up
And Guardians
everything.
is still out. Yeah.
I still need to go see that, actually.
Oh, man.
It's fun.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it either.
As someone with like a lot of daddy issues, I cried a lot, right?
Yeah.
Jesus. You just went to a dark place all of a sudden.
Brock's dad is a space alien.
Clearly.
He's a living planet.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go, Drew, plugs go.
I'm at Dale McMillan on Twitter and game-moose.com coming this Friday.
For all the cool stuff and the hotness.
Yes.
Brock,
yes.
where can people find you?
I'm Brock McLaughlin and BrockstarGaming.com.
Where do people find you on Twitter?
Brock McLaughlin.
Where do people find you on Beam?
Brockstar.
Beam.pro/Brockstar.
Get me up on Beam. I think every Tuesday I'm going to be on Beam.
I was going to say, you're doing the streaming thing a lot more consistently now, so I want to make sure we're promoting.
I'm going to try and...
People got to come out and see Brock stream.
I don't think I'm getting anything new on Tuesday. Maybe Friday the 13th, depending on embargo.
Well, the game's not out till Friday, and I don't think anyone's got any information about it yet.
I was talking to their team, but so I'll probably be playing Toy Story 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Fucking Toy Story.
Jesus Christ.
Or Earthroom Jim. I've been redoing it.
Yeah, because you told me about that as well. It was $2.
It was $1.50 or $2.
Like the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, but it's like HD remake. That game is hard as hell.
That was on 360 and it's part of the backwards compatible. So same with
good.
Ikaruga. If you want a really hard game, go buy Ikaruga for $2.
There's a reason why they call it Bullet Hell, man.
Yeah.
That game is really fun.
There are so many good games on that sale. Honestly, just hit that sale. There's 279 titles.
Go read Brock's article as well. He gives some good recommendations as well over at BrockstarGaming.com.
And they're cheap. It's like $30. Will get you like 20 games.
Yeah. Josh, where can people find you?
Just at Josh Costin on Twitter.
Cool. And your Injustice review will be this week?
Yep, it'll be coming Wednesday on Brock's site, Brockstar Gaming.
Where can we find other things that you have written?
On BrockstarGaming.com.
Yeah.
That's all my articles on Brock's site.
We're going to plug it up.
Yeah, for sure. And last but not least, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. That's TURFORD because everyone always asks. And you can also find me on Beam at beam.pro/Ryan Turford. But there's also a Game Moose Beam channel that I want to promote as well.
That's true.
Because we're actually going to start using it soon. So it's beam.pro/Game Moose. So you can go check us out there as well. So for Drew McMillan and Brock McLaughlin and Josh Costin, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 80 of the Game Moose Podcast. We're only 20 weeks away from 100, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
And we're out.